Today, I want to give you a brief introduction to Kinvey Studio, our new app development tool here at Progress. But first, just to set expectations, I want to let you know that the tool that you're seeing today is in a pre-beta state, at least at the time of this recording. It's a fairly new tool that we've been springing up and evolving over the last handful of months. To give you a sense of just dates, the plan is to release Studio as a beta sometime in early March, and to release a version 1 of the tool in early April. With that in mind, let's look at what Studio can do by building an app. What you're seeing here is the Kinvey Studio UI. Studio is an installable desktop application, and you can install it both on Windows and on Mac OS. Kinvey Studio builds on top of Kinvey, and it's really designed to enhance the Kinvey platform, so it's not a standalone tool. And as such, when you create apps in Kinvey Studio, which you can do with this button here, you have to associate your apps with a Kinvey backend, which can either be an existing backend if you're an existing Kinvey customer, or you can generate either a new blank backend or use some sample data that we provide. To save us a bit of time, I have a sample app here already ready to go with some test data. Kinvey Studio apps run on both web and mobile devices, and we'll look at each of these in turn. And I'll start on the web. So what I'll do is I'll head into this application and I'll head into a module I have. This app has sample data for dealing with tickets, where users submit tickets and then field agents go out into the field to address certain problems. So I'm going to start by creating a view for the web here. Now, Kinvey Studio apps are collections of views. So I'm going to go ahead and create one, and we're going to create one for the web. You can see that Kinvey Studio provides a number of templates to help me scaffold these screens really quickly. So in this case, I'm going to go with a data grid. I will call my view manage, and I'll go ahead and create this. On this next screen, you see the main canvas of Kinvey Studio, where you can visually configure your user interfaces and customize things like properties, events, styles, and whatnot. For the moment, I'm going to keep this simple, so I'm going to change the title of this page, and I'm going to change the edit mode. I want users to be able to edit entries in this grid, so I'll change the edit mode to inline. I can also do things like edit grid columns if I want to exclude certain columns or fields in the collection so that users can't update them. There's really a lot you can do here. And after I made that change, I'll go ahead and save it and open this application up in my web browser. And then drag this over here. You can see that your apps get a login screen automatically. And that's actually something that you can customize. So back in Studio on this Identity tab, you can choose between Kinvey authentication, which is the default, or you could turn off authentication altogether to get rid of the login screen, or you could switch to use Kinvey's Mobile Identity Connect and allow companies to reuse their existing authentication provider. This again just gets back to Studio enhancing the Kinvey platform and really just making it easy to build apps that leverage some of Kinvey's best features. We'll keep the default for now just to keep this demo short, and I'll log in with a set of default credentials here. And you'll see that I now have a fully functional data grid for working with my collection, complete with the ability to edit existing entries in this collection, add completely new ones. And I generated all of this and customized it with really just a handful of clicks. It's really a powerful way to spring up a quick front end for Kinvey data. But it's even cooler when you bring mobile into the equation. So to do that, let's go back to Studio, and I'll head back to my tickets module here. And I'm going to create a new view, but this time I'm going to switch over to this mobile tab. Now I could build a view that's a very similar ticket management setup. Kinvey Studio supports mobile master detail views and form creation, but just so you can see a bit more of what Kinvey Studio can do, I'm going to instead pick this chat view, which is Studio's way of integrating with Kinvey Chat. You'll see that I again have a mobile canvas, and over here is where I configure my chat settings. Now, eventually, I'll have a nice little drop down here that'll let me leverage any Kinvey Chat instances that I've created in the Kinvey Chat backend. But for now, considering this is a pre-beta state, I just have to manually copy and paste in a few settings, which I'm going to do right now, and save it, and then I'm really ready to go. To run this, though, I do have one additional step. Kinvey Studio mobile apps are native script apps under the hood, which is actually a big differentiator for us, as it means the apps that you're building are truly native iOS and Android apps. That does mean to test your apps, you have to use the native script preview app, which users can download from the iOS App Store and Google Play. I have the app already installed on my device back here, so I'll just drag it over so you can see that. Now all I have to do is hit this little mobile button here, and I'll get a little window where I can start a mobile preview of this. And I'll get a QR code, and all I need to do is open the Playground app and then go ahead and scan that QR code. And as you can see, I already have this chat experience running directly on my, in this case, iOS device. And you can see how, again, Studio really just enhances the Kinvey platform. And in this case, makes it really easy to build apps that consume Kinvey chat instances, both on the web and in native iOS and Android apps. There are a few last things I want to mention. If you don't like the visuals of the app, color schemes and such, there are a number of different themes that you can choose between, both on web, which you can see here, and then mobile as well. And finally, the last and maybe most important thing I want to cover is how to extend apps that you build with Kinvey Studio. A lot of tools like Studio have some form of lock-in, and often have no option for you to work on your apps outside of the vendor-provided tool. With Kinvey Studio, it was important to us that the apps that you build are always extensible and developer-friendly. As such, we make sure that you can always access the code associated with each view, and that we clearly designate what areas of the app that you can touch and which are generated by the tool. You can perform these changes directly in Studio, or you can also use really any other development tool you like. For example, I just switched over to this app in Visual Studio Code, which is my editor of choice, and I want to make some changes to the web login page. Now I know that we have some styling updates coming to this page, and it's definitely something we'll be improving, but I'm an impatient developer, and I don't want to wait for that. And also, I have a very specific design of this login page that I or my company want to have in place. So because Studio apps are extensible, and because we're building on top of really developer-friendly open source tools such as Angular, what I did was find the CSS file that controls the styling of this page. And I wrote a handful of lines of code to customize the look and feel. And there are even comments in here telling me that this is a safe place to put in extensible code. And when I save those changes, you'll see that my browser refreshes automatically, and my workflow is exactly the same. Not only that, but I can continue working in Kinvey Studio without breaking my workflow at all. Now, there are some additional features we have in the works for Studio, like some additional view types and some general UX and performance improvements. But hopefully this gives you a high-level picture of where Kinvey Studio fits into the Kinvey strategy, by making it easy for developers to build web and mobile front ends that consume Kinvey's most valuable features, such as chat, data connectors, and mobile identity connect. Studio just helps make Kinvey a more compelling offering. If you want to tinker with this yourself or you want to send it to others, you can try Studio by downloading it at studio.kinvey.com. And if you have any feedback, make sure to let us know.